Hello, 你好嗎? I'm Frankie Chow, artist from Sydney. So the exhibition is about the diaspora of Hong Kong Australians and our relationship with our Hong Kong background while being an artist in Australia. I've met Pam a long time ago. I used to work in a gallery and she was a visitor. And so we just ran into each other and started talking about our history as artists, and we happen to be both from Hong Kong as well. And so since then, I've kept in touch with her and she invited me to be in this exhibition. I was born in Australia, in North Sydney, and I've been brought up here my entire life. In my family, I would say that I had a bit of trouble expressing myself. I'm the youngest of 3 children, and so although moving to Australia, the family has to be westernized, but my parents were still a bit traditional, and my older siblings are also a bit overpowering. And so I had to find a way to discuss the matters that I wanted to talk about, even if it wasn't without words. So that's why I turned to art making to, explore my ideas. So my connection with Hong Kong is that both of my parents were born there, and in terms of my relationship with Hong Kong culture, was basically I was brought up with my parents' stories of living there, and they would expose me to lots of Hong Kong media, so lots of Hong Kong action films and comedy films as well. My parents tried their best to expose me and my siblings to Hong Kong culture through the media. I would say my connection with Hong Kong is a bit of a shallow side because I've never lived in Hong Kong for longer than 1 month in a period of time. So. The artwork that I've made for this exhibition is called 4000K, -60 to 89 HK. And so the title references the 60 and the 89 HK references my mother's period of stay in Hong Kong. She was born in 1960 and then she moved to Australia in 1989. And the work that I've made is based on her memories of Hong Kong. But in the entire work, it's inspired by the idea of false nostalgia, so that her memories are not my memories, but that's how I think of Hong Kong, even though it's not from my own experiences. And so the 4000K in the title is a reference to the color temperature of LED panels that I've used as the installation. That specific color temperature is related to the color of moonlight. And so in traditional Chinese poetry and historical references, moonlight and the moon is often referenced as a way of expressing homesickness, thinking about home. And so I tried to make a work that expresses my own style of homesickness, even though it's not from my own memories. So it's an idea of like what's reality, what's real memories, what's real experiences. My struggle of trying to gain more Hong Kong culture, even though I haven't experienced it in person myself. The work I've made would be an installation used with found objects. I've done a work like this because my major at university, in Sydney University, was sculpture installation and performance. In my recent work, I've been trying to relate back to my earlier practice and trying to remember, again, my relationship with art. And for here, it's my relationship with the past of Hong Kong and the idea of memory. The objective that I have for this particular artwork is, I made this work specifically for this exhibition, and it was a way to, let's say, talk about Hong Kong in the first idea that I came up with is that I don't have a in-person experience with Hong Kong. I've never lived there for longer than 1 month, and my Cantonese is not great. So it's a bit difficult for me to make connections with locals just by speaking. But the first idea that I had connected with Hong Kong is homesickness. It's a strange feeling as someone born in Australia, but missing a place that I was not born in. Grew up in a Hong Kong household, watching all this Hong Kong media, but never actually seeing it for myself. And even if I went to Hong Kong in the current times, it's all completely changed. Like Dai Pai Dong, the food stalls, barely exist anymore, but I see it in like God of Cookery, Seksang movies and photographs and such. But it's a sad kind of displacement or detachment from going back to a place that doesn't exist anymore. And so I think that's the reason why I made this work, is that I tried to incorporate other people's memories, other people's images and photographs of Hong Kong, and then trying to make my own interpretation of it. As I said, my relationship with Hong Kong is a bit shallow because I don't know the nitty-gritty core of what it's like to be a Hong Kong person, because I wasn't born there, I didn't grow up there at all. And so I can only rely on other people's opinions and interpretations of that place. And I have to find my own meaning of Hong Kong, what it stands for, what it means for other people, because to me, Hong Kong is very separate from my life, but regardless, there's a deep connection that I have still. Yeah, it's a strange kind of back and forth that I have. Even though my roots are only through movies and music and whatnot, I think there's a sense of nostalgia that's perhaps not false, is that I grew up with those media. And so instead of remembering what Hong Kong is, maybe I'm remembering what my childhood was. Instead of watching Australian television, I was watching Hong Kong television instead. So even if I wasn't there in person, Hong Kong was still a part of my life for a short amount of time. I think my family was very into Hong Kong movies. So grew up watching Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Stephen Chow, of course, and Andy Lau and Tony Leung. 80s, 90s, so like Leslie, Jackie Chan, Andy Lau, and Anita Mui, Nicholas Dare, Kelly, Sammy Chung, so like the big names. I always say that my first language is Cantonese, not English, because my parents would have spoken to me in Cantonese. And I think I've learned a lot of swear words watching Hong Kong movies and slang, and so I feel like my Cantonese is stuck in the 90s. I don't know any current Hong Kong slang.